Siri, battle stations. Good morning. Hello. Happy Friday. Hello. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Bobby. Got an early jump on it today.
Good
Big
morning.
day.
Happy Friday. Looks like someone is extra peppy today. What's on the agenda?
Well, Bobby, we're going to be doing some refactoring. We're going to be making some mock data.
Oh joy, refactoring and mock data. Sounds like a thrilling Friday. You sure know how to live on the edge. What's first on the chopping block?
I really do. I really do. Oh, we also got to do some webhooks. Some webhooks. We got to do that too. There's a lot to do. Okay. Let's jump into business. So, yesterday, I didn't stream. Yesterday I took a little break. Which, you know, I was super, we'll get into it in Rosethorn, but I was super tired yesterday and I just couldn't put two and two together and get going on it. So I took a little break and I spent the entire day playing Satisfactory, which, you know, isn't productive, but boy, was it fun. But I'm back to it today. We're going to go through our stuff. So what we're going to do, first we're going to erase some stuff. We're going to take this out of the list. We'll take this out of the list. We did this. And we're going to take this out of the list. We're not going to use that to-do list. We're not going to use that punch list anymore because it's all going in here anyway. Okay. So we'll do a Rosethorn Bud. Then we are going to... Wait, what's going on? I hear music. Oh, I see what's happening. I see what's happening. The music was really good because it was copyrighted. It's coming through a different audio source. There we go. All right. It was also really loud, so I was probably talking really loud. That's okay. Here we go. Here we go. Rosethorn Bud. Then we're going to do webhooks. So we never implemented webhooks for Plaid. And I'm realizing, we're just polling right now, which is fine. It would work, but let's make it nicer. And then we need some mock data because we only get like a static set of around, I don't know, it's like 10 or 12 transactions from their sandbox, and we need more than that in order to really see this thing doing stuff. So we need a way to do mock data, and ideally we need a way to like inject it into the system so I can, like, for a demo, for example, hit a button and say, okay, pretend we're doing this thing, and this thing happens. Zap, and then you get the mock data. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an update. We did have a meeting. We did have a business meeting on Wednesday. I'll give you a little bit of an update on that. But let's do that during Rosethorn Bud, I think. And then we'll see where it goes. It might be short today. I got on early so I could get off early. It's a kind of a big day. There's a lot going on. I've got anniversary. I've got a bunch of stuff happening with Wyatt and his buddies, and they're coming over, and then they're going over somewhere else, and I gotta pick them up, and there's a whole set of things I gotta do. I got dad so hard today, so I'm gonna dad, and then yeah, that's my story. That is my story. So let's do Rosethorn Bud. Probably won't get to Satisfactory today, even though I really want to. I went to bed thinking about it again, and I finally think I have it sorted, figured out how I'm going to do the last part of my configurable factory build. It's been tough. All right, so roses. Well, yesterday I took a day off. Took a day. That was nice. I really needed the day. I took a nap. I conked out for like 3 hours because I was so tired. We keep getting woken up between Wyatt and oh my god, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Whew. Goodness, that was a big sneeze. I almost blew my socks off. I was wearing socks, now I'm not. So Thorn, sleep, unreliable sleep. Bud, well, Thorn, it's anniversary, wedding anniversary. It's not a big one. 11. Not a big one, but still, nice day. We both totally forgot about it until yesterday. In fact, I completely forgot about it until she was like, tomorrow is 27th. I'm like, so? Not good. What's the 27th? Not good. All right. Buds. Oh, well, Rose and kind of a Thorn and kind of a Bud is the business meeting. We had the business meeting. We got a good reaction. So, biz meeting. Good reaction. God reaction. Good reaction. So, he likes the idea, likes what we're doing. Thinks it's cool, thinks it could be relevant, thinks it could be useful, but doesn't want to commit to it because he has no time. And this is very typical. And it makes it, and we had a follow-up conversation, and it makes us realize that we're going to have to use bigger hammers. So it was very typical of big automaker. very gun shy, very conservative, doesn't want to take risk, doesn't want to commit to time, doesn't want to commit to decisions. So we're going to have to make it super easy for them. And the biggest thing that they'll want to do is play fast and loose with data that is customer data, which I get it. So now we're starting to reframe our thinking, and it's good. We needed to do this anyway, and we knew this going in. We should have thought with this in context, but it helps getting a kick in the pants. So now we're really focused on how are we going to bring valuable data into this platform without relying on first party data. Basically, we need third party data that shows the platform's promise and starts to deliver value. And then the first party data is sort of the long-term vision. I think that will work. So I'm going to put that under bud. That's a very long bud, but I'm going to call it third party data to unlock first party data. Oh man. All right. That's good enough. All right, so we're going to take a look at webhooks. I need to blow my nose. Give me a second. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna mute. Okay, I think I'm better. All right. Let's take a look at webhooks. Okay. Webhooks are typically configured via the webhook parameter of link token create, although some webhooks, especially those used in contexts where link tokens are not always required, such as identity verification webhooks, are configured via the Plaid dashboard instead. When specifying a webhook, the URL must be in the standard format of HTTPS domain.com, and if HTTPS must have a valid SSL certificate. What do you mean if? Yeah, I can do a webhook with transaction data and not HTTPS? I want to go with yikes. All right, so let's take a look. Link token create. I want to go back and I want to go on new tab, all this shit. Country codes. Oh, here's where I provide more information. Client user ID. Ah, this is good. I can put this stuff in. Okay, well, I'm not using identity. Products. Which product do you want? The destination URL to any webhooks should be sent. Note that webhooks for payment initiation, e-wallet transaction only, transfer, bank transfer, and identity are configured via the dashboard instead. E-wallet transactions, payment initiation. I don't think that's what I want. Okay. So we need to specify webhook. Okay, I can do that. That's easy enough. That's easy enough. Transactions. API transactions. Transactions sync. Back up. To be alerted when new data is available, listen for the sync updates available webhook. So that's what we'll do. So this is actually going to be a little bit interesting. Because what we're going to need to do is, so right now what we have, let's do, and I'm realizing I need to make a new notebook, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do that later. I actually have a Monility notebook that I'm supposed to be using, but I'm not using that. That's okay. So right now, here's what we have. We've got one service that is the, this came from the quick start. It's like Monility. It's like the, let's make it, we can make a better box than that. Come on. This is, Moni Bank. This is the Moni Bank web service. Web service. Okay. And then we have the, oh my God, the strain marks again with the strain marks. See if I can. Let's see if I can write up with my hand up more. No, apparently that doesn't help. Maybe if I twist this tighter, maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Okay, and then this is the what do we call this? Plaidmon. Okay. And this, and then they both talk to Firestore. This puts an access token. And this consumes that. Right? It's pretty straightforward. And they're kind of like firewalled off from each other. This guy is just like a poll. This polls. It's a poller. And so what we're going to need to do is this will get the webhook. It's going to be kind of similar to what it does with the access token. This is going to receive the webhook that there are updates for a particular account, it's going to put that into a collection in Firestore, and then the poller, instead of just polling everything, will only pull things with updates. So this will put into here as update. And this will become a selective poller. So it won't have, it'll still have a little bit of a delay. Stop it. Come on. It'll still have a little bit of a delay because it only runs once a minute, although I could run it more often. And I could transition it away from being something that just sleeps to supporting the asynchronous nature of Firestore. So we'll see where we get. We might do all of that, or we might just do some of that. We'll see where we get. But that's kind of what we're gonna try to do right now. I gotta erase these little string marks. It really bothers me. Oh look, they just disappeared like that. All right, let's see what we can do. Okay. This webhook will fire in the sandbox as it would in production. It can also be manually triggered in the sandbox by calling sandbox item fire webhook. How would it fire in the sandbox as it would in production? Because there's no way to add a transaction. That's what I'm confused about. If there's a way to add a transaction, that would be terrific. Because then that's where I would put our mock data. Sandbox item fire webhook. Reset login, item reset login, processor token create. No. Public token create. Oh, here's all the sandbox endpoints. See, I think I've looked through this once before, and I didn't find anything in here for a transaction. There are transfers, but I don't think transfer is what we want. Yeah. So, but, I think what we could do. I think what we could do when we get into mock data is leverage this same structure. And we can have like a specific kind of account that is like not Plaid kind of thing. We'll figure that out when we get there. Okay. So let's start by adding this webhook. So the first thing we have to do is tell it where our webhook is. Here. So let's go into here. Is this on my SSH? Very cool. Okay. Very cool. Bop-ba-da-bump. Okay, here's our thing. Oh yeah, and when we left off, we had all this stuff in here that we thought I don't need this stuff anymore. We should start commenting it out. So let's do that first. Let's refactor this giant mess of a set of examples. We don't need probably 80% of this. So let's start with, we'll comment out this part, and this part will help us to understand what we don't need further on. So I don't think we need payment stuff. We do need products, probably need country code. I don't know what backs nullable is. I don't think we need that. Oops. I don't think we need payment initiation stuff. I don't think we need payment initiation for link token. We do need public token. We do need link token. We don't need a user token. We don't need to create users. We don't need a consumer report. We don't need an asset report. Auth get request, that seems like something we need. Transaction sync request, we need that. Identity, we don't need that. We don't need investments. Counts. Item. Institutions. Transfers. ACH. Statements, list request. That's interesting though. We should look at that at some point. We don't need CRA options. We don't need, I don't even know what a CRA is. Okay, so definitely don't need it. And now that should make a bunch of stuff puke. Right? All right, so let's go through these each one by one. Store access token. Create link token for payment. We don't need this. And I think it's control slash will do the comment. Control slash, yes, very cool. Create link token. We do need this. Oh, we do need user. Link token, create request, Plaid, quick start, country codes, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so go back up, go back up, go back up, go back up, 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 up. Was it you? I want to make a copy of you. Can you, what was it? Split right. Aha. Oh God, what is happening? This, I want, yeah, that's fine. It's very emotional, that song. Okay, where were we? We were down here. Link token create request user. User create request. We need this guy. This is the man we need. And the client user ID is string time. That's not what we want. Oh my God. I'm gonna put an instrumental. It is on instrumental. You son of a bitch. All right, so another thing that we're going to need is I want to pass in the user ID that we already have from Firestore, Firebase, Fire Bananas. So we're going to say client user ID equals request. And right, and they like blow away request. Right? Isn't, we learned this the hard way, that I have to use request form. I don't see where request is instantiated here though. I feel confused. I feel quite confused. Because in store access token, we use request form. And that request is from the web server, right? Oh, here it is, request. Here's where we instantiate it. Can we not do that? Let's fix this. That's actually really bad. That's bad form, right? So we're gonna call this Plaid request. Okay. We don't need statements. We don't need CRA reports, products. We don't need any of that stuff. We don't want any of that. Listen, bud. And it's also really bad to call it response, right? Like, if you are writing a web thing and it uses request and response, those kind of become reserved. I love comments like this. This is my favorite kind of code comment. This is from the sample. I'm calling link token create, and they put a comment, create link token. It's very helpful. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know that that's what you were doing. I was very confused until I read that comment that said the same thing in different order. Okay. So, client user ID is equal to request.form user ID, or we'll do string time. Actually, I don't even want to do that. And I kind of want to throw an error if you don't give me a user ID. That's kind of what I want to do. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so we're going to put this in here. Plaid API exception as E. Hey! Nobody said do that. I don't know what you just did, but nobody said do it. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to say if user ID not in request form or request form user ID is none. It's a mouthful. No, I don't like that. Maybe I'll like it better with parentheses. Fine, I know it's not throw, okay? How will the comment author... Hello, shit comment. How will they get punished? Well, it's example code shipped by Plaid, so you can take it up with them, I guess. Reason equals. Client ID is required. Let's just say that. And then here I can just say request. Oh, Jesus. All right. Request form user ID. Okay. Cool, 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 cool. Let's use the same kind of string indicators. Great. And we're going to call this, client name is Monility. Web service. Monility, Plaid web service. Let's just call it that. Let's just call it Monility. Jesus Christ. All right. Okay, and the other thing that we need to put in here in link token create request is webhook. And that is going to be now I could hard code this. I believe, okay, so we can, you know what? Here. And I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take a risk. Haha. I don't need that there. There we go. So I can leverage Plaid redirect URI and okay. And I believe we have that already in here. We do. I'm going to go ahead and close this because I'm not using it. Plaid redirect URI plus webhook. No. API. Transactions webhook. Comma. And that's never not going to be true, so I'm just going to put that in here. Direct URI equals Plaid redirect URI. That can go away. Okay. All right, now let's go back through and continue removing stuff we don't need. Don't need that. You go to hell. Set access token. I believe we need this. Public token exchange. Now, wait a minute. Now I needed split again. Split. What about split up? Let's do it this way this time. Create link token, very good. Info, very good. Store access token. Public token exchange. Public token, yeah. So we're already doing that. So now, this one we don't need anymore. This one we don't need. API auth. Receive ACH or ETF account auth. Don't need that. Get transactions. We actually don't need this because we are doing this elsewhere. Get identity. Don't need it. Get balance. No. Get accounts. No. Get assets. No. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this stuff all commented. I'm going to leave it in the code, just messy. I'm going to leave it in the code for now. And then next time I'm in here, I'll see this and say, what the heck is all this? What the fuck is this shit? And I'll take it out. If I take it out now, though, Then I'll be like, oh, I need this sample code, and I gotta go dig it up again. CRA partner insights. Those are my favorite kind of insights. I love them. Poll with retries. Since QuickStart does not support webhooks, this function will be used to poll the API, otherwise be triggered by a webhook. What's calling that? Nothing. Go to hell. What is your opinion of booleans? Well, in what context? I mean, they're obviously helpful, useful things. What is this? Down here is equals CA. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're going to move this code up past the comments. All the comments are at the bottom. They can just live down there until I get tired of seeing them, and then I will delete them. And then I'm going to move this actually down below this, and now they're in the order of what we actually need them. Okay, now we need transactions webhook. I'm going to set that up. Method question marks. Webhook. Destination. Okay, so we webhooks. Post. Very good. I heard someone say that if you use them a lot, it's likely you need to rethink how you pass in behaviors and data, since you're deciding what should happen in the end and not the beginning then. So like, if you're like passing around booleans that affect the flow of code, and so then if in effect your code is becoming sort of more abstracted than it needs to be. I mean, I could see that argument. I'd have to see an example. Yeah, I mean, generally, like, the only times I ever really use like a boolean as a variable. There's one pattern that often comes up that is like, I need to do something the first time. So I have a boolean first time. I normally have it set to true. I do something and then I set it to false and then I never touch it again. That kind of thing. But beyond that, like, I mean, if you're describing a bunch of behavior in your initialization code with booleans and that's all like juggling your code around, then yeah, I could see that would be kind of messy. Okay, I'll make you a pass for now. Okay. Now let's go back over here. Sync updates available. Here's the webhook. And I'm going to get webhook type transactions, webhook code sync updates available, item ID. What is the item ID? The item ID associated with this webhook. That's not helpful. You can't just say it again. That's not helpful. I believe, though, let's go into our Firebase console. And in tokens, this is the user ID. We do get an item ID, right? Now, I don't know if this item ID is an account. Like, okay, so you do a thing, you go through the flow, you check a bunch of boxes. These are the accounts I want to give access to, right? And I normally only ever check one, but are those like the accounts? And so let's do, what's the best way for me to figure this out? Because all I need is the access token and the cursor, and that just like gives me all the transactions, right? Well, let's look at, you know what? Okay, so here's how we're going to figure it out. Because what we need to know is if when we call, we get that item ID when we call, hey, let me turn this token into another kind of token. So let's look at that call. Item public token exchange is what we're calling, right? Let's verify that. Item public token exchange, exchange request. Item ID is in the exchange response. So this looks to me like it is only ever a single item ID. So in this case, the item is effectively all of your accounts. It's an identifier for like what you've approved for access to, for all of it. But let's look in here and let's just make sure. And it's going to say the item ID. It's not helpful. What is an item? Items, API reference for managing items. Dear Plaid, definitions are important. Sincerely, me. Now I'm like, now I have to know, like somewhere in here it's going to say what an item is. I don't even think it matters. I don't even think I need to know, but let's go to transactions. Well, you know what? I'm not going to stress out about it. It's a curiosity. We have it. We're saving the data. We already have that data. So it's fine. So in the transaction webhook, I need to actually go through. That's kind of crappy. So what I'm going to have to do is like, because I'm storing them by the user ID. And actually, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter what key I use. So this is the user ID. See, it's the same as the user ID. It could be the item ID. It doesn't really matter. because in my, let's over here in Plaidmon, we just enumerate it. Sync accounts, right? And we just get all the everything from it. What we could do, So a couple ways we could do this. Way number one, the simplest way, would be to just go through all of them, look for the right item ID, and update a field in there. And then, and the field is like, has updates, or last updated on, now, whatever. And then this thing, the consumer, does exactly what it does now, but in sync accounts, rather than calling it for every one, I only call it for the ones that says they have an update. That would be the simple thing, and would probably work to thousands of users, maybe even tens of thousands of users. Or we could change it now and say, hey, I'm going to store these by item ID, and then have just like another collection of like, here's a list of item IDs that have updates, and this thing can just consume that and look up by that and then just do those. And that would be pretty straightforward. Because this thing doesn't even care what that thing is. Okay, let's do it like that. That's actually probably the cleanest way to do it. So in here, when we store the access token, we store it by user ID. Now we're going to store it by item ID. And what we're going to do, is this the only place we're using? No, we're using, this is the only place we're using that database right now, right? Yes. Okay, so we can keep doing that. That's fine. All right, so in here, ref equals db collection. What are we going to call this collection? Let's put it under tokens since we have a sub collection in there. Documents. We're probably going to have to refactor all this, but that's okay. How come you are not lighting up? Oh, you don't light up there either. Okay, fine. Okay, that's fine. That's all fine and good and well and super. That's even fantastic.
Wow, that's fantastic, Pee-wee. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, now in here, I should have, coming back to you. No, not you. You? Is it you? It is you. I should get a webhook type of transactions and a webhook code of sync updates available. If request form webhook type, webhook code, webhook type, webhook code, webhook type, and request form webhook code. You, and then you can go in here. Hey. You go in here. You go in here. Okay. You know what? That's yes, that's quite fine. And what do we call these guys? Let's just, you know what? I'm going to make this a little bit tighter. Well, you know what? I'm not. Because I don't know if item ID is going to be in every kind of webhook. Oop. Oh my God. Okay. Then we're going to... What else do we got in here? Initial update complete, historical update complete. What do these mean? Indicates if initial pull information, the most recent 30 days of transaction history is available. Indicates if historical pull information, maximum transaction history question up to 2 years available. All I care about is this. But I actually don't even know if I care about that yet. Ref set doc. And what's in this doc? Turn JSONify doc. What's in the doc? Item ID. And now, I guess, now. Updated on. And there is a Firebase way to do this, right? Firebase, Firestore, database, now Python. Date. Timestamp. Server timestamp. Firebase Firestore. Okay, server timestamp. What was it from? Firebase Firestore? From Firebase. Wait, what is this crazy syntax? Oh no, this is not Python. Okay. Can I search this? I guess not. timestamp. Dope. That's just a filter. That's a front side filter. Okay. Timestamp. Yeah, that's not what I want. Thank you for giving me a generic search. Firebase, Firestore, Python, timestamp. Firebase, Firestore, field value, server, timestamp. There's like 3 different answers here. This doesn't even matter. Firestore dot. Okay. Wait, what was that? Don't do that. Field value. Field? No. Firebase admin. Firestore. No. Firestore. God. Sure. Great. I know, and you know, it's just passing some like magic string too, so it's like, I'm hunting for the magic string. Okay. Otherwise, return JSONify. Nothing. I don't care. You called a webhook that I don't care about. I'm not going to give you an error. I'm just going to say, great, thank you. Thank you for that. I'm going to treat you like a 10-year-old. Yes, thank you for that. Okay. I don't think I need these globals either. Global user token. What are you doing? Restore the user token in memory. Link tray. You don't even do that. Alright, so I can take that out. Cleaning up everything. No globals. Look, all you, get out of here. Okay. Bada bop. All right, let's go over to our this guy over here. Docker VS, yes. Docker compose down. Docker compose up. Terrible things are happening. Okay, it's fine. Very good. We like terrible things. We fucked it up. API transactions. Okay, let's go down here. Our tagging of the webhook was not okay. Methods. Plural. Okay. Okay. Now, how do I want to test this? I mean, I guess I could just fire up the app again. All right, I need to take a quick break first. One momento, please-o.
There's something very fascinating about timekeeping contraptions. I've made quite a few myself, but I have to admit I have great trouble making them very reliable. And when I actually need to know the time, I look for the nearest quartz watch. It's easy to forget just how clever these little things are, particularly because you hardly ever need to do anything to them. And they're so accurate, they rarely even setting. So in this program, Rex and I are going to rescue them from obscurity and look at their history and how they work. The earliest timekeeping device was simply a stick in the ground. The ancient Egyptians measured the angles of the shadows it cast, and the Greeks measured their length. This may seem rather crude, but people didn't usually need to know the time very accurately. It was usually quite good enough just to have some idea how much daylight was left. And the stick does have the enormous advantage, like the quartz watch in fact, that it never needs setting. The Greeks and Romans also had water clocks, but these were mostly just bowls with a hole in.
Clock started.
They were used as timers for rationing irrigation water.
That's it. Time's up.
Oh, that's right. My campus is hardly dampus.
They were also used in the courts for timing the speeches. Unscrupulous senators are said to have gone to great lengths to make their opponents thirsty to shorten the speeches.
Gracias, Tiago. Et in ordine quisque agua. Oh!
The first people to attach any great importance to accurate timekeeping were the medieval monks. They had up to 9 services a day, and it was considered vital to hold them at precisely regular intervals. At first, these intervals were set by water clocks, but at some point in the late 13th century, the first mechanical clocks appeared. Initially, they didn't bother with dials. The important part was the bell, which summoned the brethren to prayer. Our word clock comes from the French cloche, meaning bell. This particular clock is one of the oldest still working in a church. It's about 400 years old. Although it obviously doesn't look at all like a quartz watch, the principles on which it works are really remarkably similar. If I take a quartz watch to bits, you can see there are basically 4 parts inside. There's the display, the battery, the silicon chip, which is under this blob of plastic, and this little tin can that contains the actual quartz crystal. It's actually a lot easier to understand how one of these things works by looking at the clock in a bit more detail first. The display is obviously doing the same thing as the dial on the clock, and the battery powering the watch is...
I love that show. Sorry to break you away from it. You probably want it. Like, can we go back to that guy? He was like really interesting. All right. What I should be able to do is it's up and running, so I should be able to go to moniplaid.jplt.com. No. Moni link. Ah. Unable to fetch link token. I broke it. Ah. Aha. I did break it. I did break it. Because now I'm saying you need to have the client ID. Alright, well, let's relax that restriction a bit. I see. Gross. This is a bit gross. Am I string lines? Alright, let's go there. Alright, let's just do that. Asshole. Asshole. think I can just Docker compose up it. I think it'll do the right thing. I don't think I need to build it again. There we go. Are you sure you want to do this? Because it's going to take all your shit. You're going to be totally fucked up. And everything's going to be terrible. Yeah, dude. Let's do that. Mm-hmm. Yep. These ones. Uh-huh. Yes. I want that. This many. Yes, don't save that. Very good. $404. That's unfortunate. What's the best way to do this? So what's happening is I'm not using the app to make these calls. I'm using the thing. That way I don't have to I'm using the quick start. So that way I don't have to spin up all the stuff to build the app again. I mean, I could. It wouldn't take me that long. And I guess it would be a better test. But I changed the name of this. So this is now 404ing. I called it store instead of set. So let's just do this. This is cheesy, but... And I don't know if I can just add the sugar to the other one and just have two different things, but this is going to be the easiest thing for me to do. Fall back to the old API call from Quick Start for easy testing of this code without spinning up the iOS app. Okay, there we go. That's proper comment. Future me will be like, oh. All right. Oh, I don't need to put anything. What? Oh, son of a bleedity bleep. Bad request. Key error, user ID. Request form, user ID, store access token. Okay. Getting hackier and hackier. Detected change, reload. Great. So I don't even have to restart that thing. I can just reload you, redo this thing, and reset that, and redo that, and hit that, and do that. Do this. All of these things are true. Oh, again with error. Oh, immutable. It's immutable. You can't change the request, you son of a bitch. Why would you do that? Okay. 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 You gotta calm down, dude. You gotta calm it down. Okay. Let's do it again. Oh my god, again? Oh, okay. Fucking hell, dude. Bad key, webhook type, transactions. You told me that's what you were gonna send me, you jerk. Oh man, now I'm gonna have to like... can I call keys? Can I call keys? Okay. And what was the log? The log. Son of a bitch. What was it? App.logger. Ah. Okay. Let's go info. Keys. Request.form. You gonna let me do that? Are you gonna let me do that? Or are you gonna be a dick about it? I bet you're gonna be a dick about it. I bet you're gonna be a real piece of shit about this. Dick to keys. Cool. Very good. Can I see what they are? Please? All right. Dude, why are you sending so many webhooks? You're like really aggressive with the webhooks. Glad I'm not responding to them in real time. Join? Right. Dict keys. All right. Join, comma. No. Comma join. String join. Okay. All right. Comma. Join. You. I choose you, Pikachu. I should be able to like set up the debugger here, right? I don't know how to do that. The debugler. This thing is so basic. I don't think I need to do all that. Oh, Citibank. Okay. Hey, First Platypus. I love First Platypus. This is my favorite bank. Success. A great success. Sir? Sir? Your webhook has no info in it. Sir? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I bet that this webhook is a post, but is supplying parameters as a query. Let's go back to the webhook. Okay. All right, hang on. I'm gonna be right back.
This week on the Computer Chronicles, how to build the ultimate gaming computer. We'll talk graphics cards and show you the new NVIDIA GeForce 3. We'll talk sound cards and show you how to add stunning theater-style surround sound to your games. We'll show you what it looks like to play a game on the newest Pentium 4 chip, running at a blazing 1.7 gigahertz. And the editors of Maximum PC Magazine will show us their choice for the best overall gaming computer. How to build the ultimate gaming PC, coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by PC to PC, the online computer migration service from PC First, moving files, applications, and preferences from your old computer to your new one. Additional support is provided by Upside Events, presenting the Digital Lifestyle Revolution Conference, where people and technology intersect.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. There's some very interesting marketing data on new PC purchases, which shows that most PC upgrades for consumers are driven not by the grown-ups in the house, but by the kids who want a more powerful gaming machine. Certainly there is no more demanding application for a computer than today's graphics-intensive games. So today we are going to help you figure out how to put together the ultimate gaming computer. And we're going to start out with graphics. And here to help us do that is Tony Tomasi of NVIDIA. Hi, Tony.
Hi.
All right, so you've got the brand new GeForce 3 graphics card here, and there's a million cards out there. This is new. What is different, better? It's actually next generation.
That's exactly right. The GeForce 3 is the latest generation graphics processor from NVIDIA. So this product actually includes a 57 million transistor graphics processor. To put that in perspective, that's more transistors than a Pentium 4 plus a Pentium 3 put together.
Just on the graphics
Just
card.
on the graphics processor, as well as 64 megabytes of 230 megahertz DDR memory.
But what's key about this is it's programmable.
That's exactly right. For the first time, the graphics processor is as programmable as the CPU. We have an instruction set. Just like the Intel processors have an instruction set that you can program Microsoft Word or Windows with, we now have an instruction set that game programmers can program to create special effects on our processor.
So that means a game developer is not stuck saying, well, I can only do what the graphics card will let me do. You can make the graphics card do whatever you want it to do.
That's exactly right. So for the first time, really, in real time, game developers can create essentially special effects.
Yeah.
So what used to be the domain just of movies and special effects there, which are render farms and it would take hours per frame, we render those same special effects in real time at 60 frames per
This is all about what's on the screen. So let's get to the computer here, and I want you to show me a couple of examples. First of all, in a game, I mean, you're concerned about the surfaces of things, the texture, the animation. Show us an example. You have a great example, I think, of the chameleon there.
Right. So we came up with this idea of the chameleon to really show off the nature that because it's programmable, it can change the way it looks. So interactively, we can actually demonstrate programmability with this chameleon here. So it's completely real time. I can look at it from any camera angle, any way that I want. It's actually being driven.
So this is all being generated and driven right now in real time.
That's exactly right. All this
it's
code
responding to your direction.
is running on the graphics processor in real time.
So you've wireframed it, for example?
The first thing, of course, is that the chameleon is built from geometry or wireframe. The animation of this chameleon, how he moves and walks and the skin bends over him, is done with a program. We call that a vertex shader. That's a piece of code that runs on our graphics processor that drives the way he animates. In addition to that, of course, we have the way that he looks. And so we have a variety of what we call pixel shaders to generate special effects that are on the surface of this creature. And so interactively, we can create essentially the Predator look, where he's actually semi-transparent. He actually refracts the ambient light around him, and yet still reflects it, or bends it into the
And again, to be clear, this is no cutscene here. I mean, this is you are running this.
That's right. If you
now.
look at my hand and you look at the mouse as I move it around, it's completely interactive.
Yeah.
We can play with this as we see fit. And if you look at, well, this is actually our Invisible Man shader to kind of give you an idea what the skeletal system and the vein system look like. We'll go ahead and let the chameleon continue walking here. We'll talk about some of the shaders. So as we get close, we'll go ahead and zoom in on the surface of this guy. And if you look, just say on the joints of his arm there, the bumps are correct. The way the specular highlights move across the bumps as he animates are all completely correct.
All right. Now, I want you to go to the next demonstration. Another thing in a game is the landscape, the background, the environment. They're often sort of clunky and dull, and they don't really get you into the game emotionally. And you have the ability now to actually generate real-time landscapes too, right?
That's exactly right. Because the processor is programmable, we can actually program the processor to procedurally generate a world. So the advantage here is that where previously worlds would have an end. You could get to the end of the texture or the end of the geometry, and that was it.
So again, this is a real-time generation of this landscape.
Right. If you notice the mouse as I pan it towards the edge of the screen, that's the direction that I fly, and I'm flying around the world. I can get close to the landscape. I can fly up in the air. The other nice thing about this, the world is completely generated, but we've got so much graphics processing power that we can actually have a little bit of fun. So wherever I click on the screen, we have a meteor come flying down, and the meteor does some interesting things. As he clicks and lands, you notice there's that ripple, that shockwave. We do that with a vertex shader. It's actually taking the geometry underneath and deforming it.
And again, you're running this right now. It's not just happening.
That's
the last thing I
time.
want you to show us is the hardest thing in a game is the human face, right?
That's exactly
I mean, there's so much subtlety in the different expressions. Most games, the faces are pretty boring. You never get to know them, right? You have a demonstration here which is just incredible in what you can do with this card.
Yes, we wanted to create, to solve the problem, or at least attack the problem of creating some emotional conveyance in a character. Today's game characters are kind of blockheads. They have flat faces, maybe moving textures, and typically plastic hair.
So what do we have here? Zoltar.
So we've got Zoltar, which is actually kind of modeled after the Zoltar character from Tom Hanks' movie Biggs. He's a fortune teller, and it's a completely interactive face. I can view him in wireframe, or not.
Yeah, but go back. Let's see the motion around his, when he talks, I mean, you can see his skin stretch.
We'll move into his face a little bit here.
Mouth,
Get nice and close, and we'll go ahead and fire up an animation here. And you notice that what we can do is program the graphics processor to deform his actual skin. We've modeled the skeletal structure and the muscular structure of his face as programs. We download those to our graphics processor, and we can animate them and move them around entirely in real time. So for the first time in real time, you can get human characters.
Wow.
This is something that even the movie industry has really just started trying to tackle, and now we're running it in real time on a graphics processor.
Okay, so it's NVIDIA's GeForce 3, and it'll cost me how much?
About $399.
All right, thanks a lot.
Great, thanks a lot.
All right, well, once you have a killer graphics card in your computer, the next most important element for a great gaming machine is sound. There are many sound cards and systems out there to choose from. Here to tell us about one high-end option is Scott McNeese of Philips. How you doing, Scott?
Great.
Okay, now we have to explain it's pretty hard to demonstrate this on television because most people are listening to some little monaural clunky speaker on a TV set probably. So they're going to have to trust us a little bit.
Right.
So let's talk about what's the big deal about your new sound card, which is what, the Acoustic Edge. Okay.
Yes.
It's a new generation card too. Why?
Yes. Well, basically what we set out to do is when you're in, you know how great it is if you're sitting in a movie theater with a really nice Dolby Digital or DTS sound system and you're surrounded by sound, so you just really, really get immersed in it and enjoy it. Well, we want to be able to create that same experience on the PC. The problem on the PC is most of the sounds you hear, music, even most of the sounds in games, are not positional or not 3D.
At best, it's just stereo sound, right?
Exactly. So we came up with a solution in terms of our Thunderbird Avenger chip that we developed and the algorithms that we put on it that basically allow us to take any stereo sound and create multi-channel sound. That is 4 or 5.1 channels of sound, just like in the theater, so it surrounds you.
So even though the game itself is only pushing, say, stereo sound, 2-track sound, you can somehow put an algorithm on top of that and pull that apart into 5 different channels, so I really have surround sound.
Exactly. In fact, there's 2 different cases there. There's some games that have no positional sounds at all.
Right.
And those will make that game all of a sudden a positional 3D or a surround sound game. But even those games that are coming out now that do use positional 3D, they'll only take a portion of the sounds and actually position them. And everything else will be stereo or mono.
You can actually put more in the game than was in there in the first place.
Yes.
This algorithm.
Additional layers of surround sound, if you will.
You have a nice little demonstration here, actually. If you can show us that sort of visual representation of the way you break up the sound.
Yes, this is an MP3 player that's included, and there's going to be a visual here. I'm going to start it up. And first, actually, we're going to start it in stereo. And you see these 2 little visuals here. That corresponds to a left and right speaker.
Okay, so that's the 2 tracks that are sort of pushing out the sound right now.
Right, exactly. Now, I'm going to go to
that would be our typical stereo environment.
Exactly. Now I've gone to 4 speakers, and this shows...
Now, how did you go to 4 speakers? You just told your card I want 4.
Exactly. I said, let's assume we have a 4-speaker setup with this, and let's go to 4. And if you look at this, you can see the 2 front, left and right, and the left rear.
Sorry about that. That was the inspection for the solar. All right, so webhooks. When I look at this, I see a JSON object. And so I think we're receiving data that's not through a form. So I need to figure out how to get this data. And all right, let's go back in here to the code. Yes, here. And I think all of these calls, I don't think any of these are using the request object. And in fact, the first thing they all do is blow away the reference to the request. Just gross. Is very gross. It is so gross. Is this true?
Is this true? Yes, it's true. This man has no dick.
What is the best way for me to... Can I like flask dump? Flask dump request. Uh-huh. Request dict. Why not? Request headers. Request body. Yeah, I think I need the body. I bet you what's it? I bet you the JSON objects is just okay. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're getting there. Request body. What is this music happening right now? You need to go elsewhere with that shit. Okay. Reload. Yes, do that. Mm-hmm. Very good. Yes, I signed in. Yes, I agree. So hard. I couldn't agree more. Request object has no attribute body. The fuck, dude? Alright. Here's what's gonna happen, because this is getting nutty. So, I wanna... Can I attach to the Flask attach debugger? Okay, so debug is running, right? How do I actually do it? I did that. I'm doing it. Unhelpful. I want to enter a REPL in this thing. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Stop you. Good old sleep in the Docker file. Is this gonna do what I want? It is not. All right, so it is sleeping. I didn't see an error, so it's just sitting there. Great. Very good. Docker exec-it. Well, let's PS it. It's called Moni Plaid Python, right? Yep. Docker exec-it. Moni Plaid.
Yoink!
Yoink. No bash. What's Shellman? Well, whatever. I don't care. You know what? Don't care. I'm in the thing. All right. Okay, so now here. What is this song? Oh my god. What was happening? I hate it. I hate everything about it. Python M Flask run host port. Great. I can remember that. I think. Python M Flask. Nope, I can't remember it. Run host port. Was it 8,000? Very good. Okay, debugler. We're gonna debugle. Okay, come on, man. Dude. It's like, come on. Yay, I have a console. Okay, where's my request? Oh, are you fucking serious right now with this? Do I have an app? I hate you. I really do. Local equals locals. Code interact. Return a dictionary containing the current scopals local variables. Okay. What I want is, I guess, globals. Okay. Let's see what that does. See if we get what we want. Are you going to call the webhook again for me, or am I going to have to go through the flow again? I'm going to have to go through the flow again. Okay, it's not a problem. Okay. Request. Fuck yeah, dude. Request.data? You told me this wasn't a thing I had. How come you told me this wasn't a thing I could do? Oh. I held body. Oh god. Oh god, I'm starting consoles on consoles. Alright, fine. Holy shit. Listen, you're gonna have to not be a dick about it, okay? Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, I'm getting the webhooks, but I'm not seeing the updates in the webhook. So, oh, you know what? Yes, I could tell you probably maybe why. I could tell you probably maybe why. We're going to app logger info data. Just put that whole thing in there. You're gonna make me do it again? You're gonna make me do it again. Listen, bud. You. Congrats. Great. Fuck yeah, do that. Yep. Yep. I want that one. Yes. I totally read that. Definitely did. Yes. Oh. Oh. I see. So we're getting initial update and we're getting historical update. Yes. New transactions, 12. I just get those two. I actually don't care. I don't care which one of these you give me, you know, because all I'm gonna do. So I'm still gonna poll, right? I'm still gonna like go to sleep and then wake up and then do the work. So instead of this webhook code, I'm just gonna say like, listen, man, as long as your transactions, great. Then let's go ahead and add that thing. And it's going to set that doc, so it'll overwrite it. Okay? Okay, Let's do it one more time. And then what we need is a thing to do a thing. You know what I mean? You know. Pff, you know. Aha. An item represents a login at a financial institution. Aha. Okay, now I know what item means. Yay. The dumb name. Your name is dumb. All right. Let's. Yes, what we wanted to do was this and this and this and this and this and this and one of these. Some of that. I need that thing. One of these guys. Yep. I'm gonna do a little bit of that. I'm gonna hit this button. I'll click that thing. Now this thing's gonna happen, and then you're gonna throw a big ass fucking air and puke everywhere. Object of type Sentinel is not JSON serializable. Listen, guy. You're gonna have to start not being a real piece of shit. It's this. It's this thing. And return you one of these guys. Okay? Good old okay. What I should have, what I'm looking for, is this. Galk. Okay, so I should have in here, I should have Galk. There it is. There's Galk. Good old Galk. What a guy. What a bud. Okay. Good old fucking Galk. What a bud guy that guy is. Okay, let's clean up our mess. Got some mess in here. We don't need you. Okay, we don't need you. You we can stop. This we can undo. Okay, now. Okay. I'll sip of this. Mm-hmm. Very good. So now what we need is for this thing, not this thing. This thing we're done with. We need this thing. So we have the events. And this is all by user ID. Okay. Def get updates. Call ref. Look how not dry this is. So what this will need to do now is all right, so sync accounts will need to get the updates. For each one of the updates we enumerate, we need to get the account. We need to get the oh, excuse me. We're going to call this services. Okay. And so now in here, we're going to say updates ref. We'll call this just updates, and this is going to be called services. Docs equals updates stream for doc and docs. Okay, now data equals doc to dict. Okay, and now in here we get an item ID. So now we can say services. That's a collection. Dot document. Data. Item ID. Get. Music's driving me up the wall. We're gonna go to not you, not you. Let's go to all stations. Try that. I just like house music. Can I just have that? Where's there you go. Yeah, Boots and Cats. Come on. All right. I think we can close some of this. Come on, dude. Get Doc 2 Dick. Okay. Okay. Now the rest of this becomes the same, right? Right? Save the updated cursor back to the document. Sync the account. I kind of want to change the name of this, like away from account and accounts, because it's like more like it's services. Hey, come on, dude. I don't know what you just did, but that was like way out of hand. Okay. I'm in here. I'm going to explain what's going on. The Plaid webhook will update the services collection. No, update the updates collection each time there are new transactions. Read the updates, pull the relevant service, and then sync it. You also need to update the cursor of the relevant service so we read where we left off last. And this is getting close to needing to be broken up. ID represents a connection to a bank with one or more accounts. Get the service document from the update. Okay. Okay. Oh, I ain't running shit. All right. Great. Fine. All right. Over here, we got an updates. Got a couple updates here. I want to go through the whole thing. So what I'm going to do, I think I can just clear this whole collection. Delete it. Fuck you, man. All right. Now here I'm going to start reflector. Porcupine. Here I'm going to connect to that reflector. Did it just like, yeah, I did that. Sometimes it's just like, nah. Sometimes it's like, nah, dude. I'm not gonna do that. Try it again. Dude, I moved this over there for a reason, and you moved it back. Okay. Now, this thing should just work the same as it did. Reload it. We got a bunch of data here. I don't want that. Okay. Profiles. I believe this is my profile. Hey, look at all those points I got. What a guy. Why has this got stuff in it? It should not. It should be empty now. I don't think I have it under here anymore. I think I moved this, right? Let's take a look. Oh no, that is where I'm getting it. Accounts, events. Okay. And where am I putting the events? When am I reading them? Okay. Well, this is totally fucked. Okay. All right, well, which one do I want, right? Like, okay, so this thing is putting it into events, user ID, events. This thing is reading from accounts, account ID, which is part of the profile, events. I think we determined earlier that we don't want to do it this way, that we want to have a unified view of events, because you're going to get data from lots of places and they're all going to go in the same feed of events. Eventually this will need to like read sorted. Oh, what a mess. Oh, it's breaking my head. It's breaking my head. All right. All right. Well, if it says if I don't have a profile, it's going to return loading. So presumably I'm logged in. All right. That's what I want. Okay. Okay. So we're going to go to profile, link to Plaid. Unexpected character. And create link token. Is it not running? It's not even running. So yeah, of course it's not working. Right. Okay. So Docker compose up. I'm going to run this in the foreground. So I want to watch what happens here. We are going to need to handle that. We'll do it later. Unable to reach the origin service. May not be down. May be down. Okay. Status code. If response status code's not equal to 200, we need some way to like we need some way to like signal to the user that something's wrong, but I don't know how to do it. To do signal to user that something is wrong. Print status code when connecting to Moni Bank was not 200. Is it running? Question mark? Return. Is it running? Question mark? Save. Reload. To Plaid. Is it running? Question mark? Great. All right. Now, what's happened here is I need to Docker build. I did not build, and so now it's still sleeping. It's just sitting there. And the proxy's like, dude, what? Dude, what? Dude, where's my data? Oh, I need more coffee. Son of a... I want a good coffee, too. I want a good coffee. I'm going to start up my good coffee maker from my phone, because I can. It is now heating up, so I can make a good coffee. All right. This drip shit. All right, that man is running. He is doing his thing. Things are happening. Things are going to start happening to me now. I'm going to click this. Oh, yeah. I want to do that. Yep. I want to do that. Yep. I want to do that. Yep. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's my thing. This one. Yes, I've read that. I click it. Success. Haha, all these good things just happened. Look at all these wonderful things that just happened. Okay, now this is still 0 because the other thing is not running. Okay, let's check our data. Let's make sure our data is in a good state. I'll go home here. So we have... This does not look good, actually. We're missing tokens entirely. There it is. Okay, we have our token. We have our item ID. We have our user ID. We have our updates. We have our item ID. We have our date. Okay. Everything is in order here. Everything is in very good order. So now here, I can go into here, and I can go into here, and I don't even need to run this in Docker. I can just go Plytrahan Plaidmon. Cool. Oh, look at that. Everything just updated. Magical. Magical. Now, I am missing one thing. The thing that I'm missing is that I did not delete this. Once I've done the thing, I need to delete this document so I don't do it again. Then I'll wait for it to come back. I could leave it and just update this and blah, 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 but I don't want to. I'm just going to delete it. Just fucking get rid of it. Get rid of that shit, dude. You don't need it. So what's going to happen when I run it again, I'm going to double up on my points. But that's okay. All right, so now for the updates and updates. We've got this update, right? Okay. Now delete the update so we don't do it again. Update is a document ref. I don't think I can just call delete. I think what I need to do, and then we did this once before. We've gone through this headache. I don't need you. You're not helpful to me. So now we can say updates ref dot document update ID dot delete. Is it delete? Read data. Add and manage data. Delete data. Document delete. Warning, deleting a document does not delete its sub-collections. What happens to them? Well, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that right now. Warning, you're going to create some orphans. Okay, so now here, I'm going to run this again. It would be an unexpected result if we weren't also using cursors. So we did not double up because we read from the point where we left off. But now we should find that our shit is gone. Perfect. Beautiful.
You win. Perfect.
Yes. Okay. Where are we? I think now we're in a really good place. Let's go back here. Go here. Just a nice deep red. We did Rosethorn Bud. We did webhooks. Webhooks are done. So now we just need a good way to make mock data. And I think what I'm going to do for the mock data is create it like a separate service, maybe? Because what we should have in here now is events. And events are generic. Yes, I'm copying over things like this category name. I should map that. We can do that some other time. And actually, this thing accounts, I think, is dead. I don't think we're using this at all. We just have events, profiles, and tokens. And in which one am I? I think I'm this guy. I want to fix this part too, the name. I want that name to get fixed. I guess we can deal with that later. And I don't even think we need this account. I don't even think that account is being used properly. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure this is the profile that I'm working with, right? If I set this number to 33,000, then over here I've got 33,000. Right? That's working. All right, so I'm going to get some more coffee, and then we're going to think about the right way to create mock data. I'll be right back.
Hello. It's a miracle of the age being able to pick up the phone and talk to somebody on the other side of the world. But although this needs some very sophisticated electronics connecting the phone together, the telephone itself has remained quite a simple gadget. It's really just a set of push buttons, a couple of switches, a bit of electronics inside, a bell or a buzzer of some sort, and of course the handset. Well, I'll take the microphone out and give it to Rex. The microphone and the earpiece are remarkably similar to those on the very first telephone invented over 100 years ago. If I connect up the earpiece at this end, and Rex connects up the microphone at the other end, I should be able to hear him.
Hello, can you hear me, Tim?
Yes, I can. It works very well. This is too faint to work over long distances, But the remarkable thing is that there's no battery in this circuit, it's just the microphone at one end and the earpiece at the other. In this program, I'm going to look at how the telephone evolved from simple devices like this to become the elaborate international system it is today.
Hello, Tim. Can you hear me?
It had been discovered in 1820 that any wire carrying electricity becomes slightly magnetic. The effect was called electromagnetism. Wrapping the wire round in a coil greatly increases the effect. The extraordinary thing is that until 25 years ago, most of the telephone system was worked by devices based on this simple effect. The first use of the electromagnet, though, was for the telegraph, which in many ways was the forerunner of the telephone. In its simplest form, you simply had a switch at one end, Rex, and a needle at the other. This was made in lots of different varieties. This is one for sending private messages. This is a twin needle one, and you could send all the different letters of the alphabet by a sort of code of different sequences of needle movements. This is a replica of Samuel Morse's original apparatus. It was quite elaborate at first. You had to turn this handle to send the messages. And the receiver printed the messages out on a strip of paper. But the operators soon realized they could simply tap the message out and decipher the signal simply by listening to it. And this was the origin of Morse code. This was a system for unskilled operators. You had one switch for each letter of the alphabet, and if I press the R, turn the handle, the receiving station would have an identical instrument, and the needle in the middle would go round to the same letter. This is a more primitive version of the same thing. Well, by 1860, the telegraph system had become big business. All the major towns in Europe and America had a telegraph station. The lines became so busy that they had to develop a way of sending the messages at high speed. So you had somebody printing the messages out on paper tape and putting them into one of these machines, a high-speed sender. And at the other end, you had one of these machines, which is a high inking machine. Not working at very high speed at the moment. Okay, that's enough of that. Well, this required a whole army of clerks which had to punch the messages out and then decipher them at the other end. It was while trying to invent an improved version of this that Alexander Graham Bell realized that it might be possible to send speech down the wires instead of simple pulses. Bell's father was an ebullient teacher of elocution and speech therapy in Edinburgh.
Graham, now listen to this poor woman. She has the most terrible problems with her labials. Oh, and she's got a frightful lisp, too.
However, Graham's two brothers then died of tuberculosis, and his father decided to immigrate to a healthier climate.
They had such lovely voices, too. We'll do fine in America.
Around the ragged...
Aged 25, Bell himself started teaching speech therapy in Boston. At the same time, he came up with his idea of a harmonic telegraph. Recruiting a man from the local ironmonger shop called Watson, he experimented, sending several messages simultaneously at different tones, but nothing would make it work.
Oh, doesn't it work?
On June the 2nd, 1875, though, he suddenly realized it could be modified to transmit speech. Bell described what he'd done as transmitting voice-shaped currents. Instead of the electromagnet just being on or off, he was using it to vibrate a diaphragm and produce sounds. If Rex now connects the electromagnet to my record player, and we use the bass drum skin as the diaphragm, you should be able to hear something. The magnet's vibrating the skin, and this is moving the air, reproducing the original sound. This is one of Bell's original telephones. You can see exactly the same arrangement with the diaphragm here and the electromagnet. You listen in through the bottom here. This is a modern telephone earpiece, and you can see this has a metal diaphragm and the electromagnet is embedded in plastic down the bottom. The principle is exactly the same. Bell's patents made him a very rich man, and he built an enormous mansion in Nova Scotia. He grew rather portly and started experimenting with kites, twin-bearing sheep, iron lungs, hydrofoils and all things. He became completely fed up with the telephone and wrote, "I have become so detached from it, I often wonder if I really did invent it, or was it just someone else I'd read about?" Bell used the second receiver as his microphone. It works exactly in reverse. When you speak near it, the diaphragm vibrates and creates a tiny electric current in the electromagnet. I can show you this with a loudspeaker. A loudspeaker is just a larger version of the same thing, really, with a paper cone as a diaphragm and an electromagnet underneath. I've connected it to a meter here, and when I move the diaphragm, the meter registers the current. Well, now if I connect it to the second speaker, when I vibrate one speaker, the other one vibrates too. This is how Rex was managing to talk to me at the beginning of the program. But it's not a very efficient process, this is why Rex's voice was so faint. And without any electronics, Bell's idea was really much too faint to be of any practical use at all.
The first practical telephone used a completely different type of microphone. This was patented by Thomas Edison some 2 years after Bell. Edison realized that if you apply a small amount of pressure to a lump of carbon, its resistance changed, so he fitted a diaphragm to a piece of carbon. This basic idea was greatly improved by Reverend Hunnings. He used a whole pile of carbon granules, and we can reproduce this quite easily using a coffee jar top. I've put a couple of bits of silver paper in here to form a contact, and connecting up to a loudspeaker and a battery. If I fill this with the granules, you'll hear it begin to crackle. Then fit a diaphragm, which is just a piece of plastic. If I cup my hands around it and speak quite loudly, you should be able to hear Bell's voice-shaped currents coming out of the speaker. And this type of microphone, in a refined version, was used in telephones right up to the late 70s.
With Bell's receiver and Edison's microphone, the telephone became a practical proposition. At first, the telephone companies had to stress its usefulness in emergencies because so few people had phones that they weren't much use for anything else. This is part of a film made for a New York phone company in 1910. The company's efforts were obviously successful. This is a pile of New York telephone directories a few years later. This is one of Edison's
over here talking to you with mute on. I was talking about mock data and thinking about different ways to do it. We could have a little command line tool. We could have a web service. Do we want to make this something that just creates mock data on behalf of Plaid? Or do we want something generic? And I'm still like kind of annoyed that Plaid just doesn't have like, hey, here's a way to insert transactions into the sandbox. I've searched for it a few times and it seems like a relatively straightforward thing that I should be able to do. But it is not available. At least not anywhere I can see. That would be the ideal thing. It's just like insert another thing, because then I could just have all the same code run. Nope. So what if we did this like kind of Plaid specific? Because I don't think we're going to need this mocking for other data sources. I wish I could like duplicate this. I gotta think a little bit here. I'm being awfully quiet. I'm thinking. I'm mulling over ideas in my head, and that's not helpful to you, is it? You can't hear that. Not yet, anyway. Not yet. All right, so I think I'm gonna do this like. What I'm gonna do. Oops, I'm gonna VI that thing. I'm going to actually make it part of this thing. And in here, okay. And it's not going to be part of Plaidmon itself, but Plaidmon is going to be mock aware. And in sync service, Def sync mock service self data, right? And in this thing is instead of getting def get mock transaction thinking. Okay. So we're going to call mock events plaid. And I have a cursor in here. All right, so I'm just going to have a generic ID. This could be an item ID, it could be user ID, it doesn't really matter. And here is going to be events. This is going to be mock event call ref. Okay. So then here I'm going to use mock ref equals self get mock event call ref data item ID. Okay. Sync service. Process transactions. Process transactions runs all this. And I kind of want like to run all of that, right? I want to run all this code. My mock data should run all this code. Okay. What do I call stream? Okay, so we have account ID. Name, authorized date, amount. And then personal finance category. Okay. Where's my event? This is the event. Yeah, just have the category and a description. But the rule matching uses name, right? So I need name. I mean, it's basically this. I'm basically reversing this. To dick. All right, so data, right? Data, name, data, date, data, amount, category. Okay. Okay, and then transactions, append transaction. Okay. And now we can delete that. So mock ref document mock ID delete. Okay. All right. We need a user ID. Oh. Hmm. Okay. Self-process transactions, data user ID, because this is going to be like an account, and then transactions. And then I need a cursor. Turn string time. That's your cursor. Mock cursor dash. Okay. Cursor. Okay. All right. Is it time to play video games yet? Because I'm getting tired of this. All right. Sync mock service. Sync service. All right. So. If is mock in data and data is mock, return self sync mock service data. Hand off to the mock handler if this is a mock service. Pulls data from the mock collection instead of Plaid. And hands off to the appropriate handler. Okay. Okay. So now we just need a little tool that will like load the appropriate data. And that can be filled from like a JSON file or whatever. And if we need to make it fancier later, if we want to trigger it so that we can do a demo, that's easy to do, but we don't need to do it now. Right? So here's a mock data.json. And load mock data.py. Should I even make this a separate file? Because I could just put it in here, right? This has a command line thing right now. Doesn't it? Those args, right? And it runs once or it runs scheduled. So we can just add a -L that says like load mock data from this file. That's what we're going to do. That's much better. So this can go away. And then we can then it'll be easier to keep track of and all that kind of stuff. So parser add argument -L load mock. Action equals store. Type equals what? File? Is there file? Type equals file, I'm pretty sure. Python argument parser. Type. Tired. Arg parse file type. Coding Latin 1. What the? Okay. Come on, man. Ugh. Load mock data from specified JSON file first. And then I don't even need to like change the behavior. It'll still run. Oh, come on, stop. Not all true. If self args load, it's called load mock, load dash mock, but what does that turn into? I'm tired. Okay. Okay. If self args load underscore mock self load mock data. What was the problem here? I don't understand. Why is none getting passed in? Sync service data. Sync services, right? Sync service. I mean, this should just exit, right? We don't have any data. Updates is empty. No, it is not. Got this shit in here. Galk. I see. Oh, I see. You know what I did not do? If not service exists, continue. Am I logging? Self-log? Self-log warning. Update references item that does not exist. Okay, now that should be deleted. What? Reload. Why aren't you? Because I skip it. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's what I was expecting. Cool. I don't know how Galk got in there. What a guy. What a Galk. What a filthy Galk. All right. Where was I? All right, loading. Loading. Load mock data. Def load mock data self. I gotta read it, right? Self args mock. Load mock. Load mock read. JSON loads data. All right. If data all right. Here's a question. I need to, at some point, create a account for this user. Right? And this user is going to have an ID. How do I say, like, this is the user I want to create mock data for? I guess it could be part of the mock data. So mock data could be something like this. User ID. Okay. What do we say? Account name, date, amount, and category. I don't know how we're going to do date here. I don't think it's going to matter. Account, name, date, amount, and category. Account, name, category, date, and amount. Why are you all red? Property keys must be double quoted in JSON. Fuck you, man. Okay. Now that's one way we could do it, but I don't know that that's my favorite way to do it. Lyft, ride share, date, is there an official way to do dates in JSON? Okay. Now this will work, but I kind of want to be able to override at least the user ID. And in fact, you know what? I don't even want to do this. I don't want that at all. I just want this. Because this should be able to be like roughly static, right? and then I'm going to create some other types of transactions that will be relevant at some point in the future, but aren't relevant yet. So we're going to call this charge point. EV charging. What else is relevant? I don't know what category this would be. Whatever. It's fine. It's an expensive train ride. Okay. Super. Okay. Okay. And we might do more stuff with user ID later, but for now we're just going to use it for mock. So the first thing we need to do is ensure that we have there's a few things we're going to need. We need to ensure we have a service. Okay. And I know this isn't what this isn't how those are stored, but that's okay. Okay, fine. And what's going to go in here is user ID is user ID. Item ID is item ID. And there's other things that are in this. So go back to tokens, services. We have access token, item ID, cursor, and user ID. Access token, token, mock token 1, 2, 3, cursor 1, 2, 3. Okay. We need to updates ref equals self get updates ref updates ref document, and this is also by item ID, right? Okay, so and what do we put this in here? It's like updated on, and this is like Firestore server timestamp. Okay, and then for mock in data, all right, mock ref equals self mock item ID, mock ref, this is a collection, add, is it add? Set, add. Yep. And for now, I'm just going to return here. Okay. Okay. Load mock data, and the user ID is my user ID. This guy. Blink, 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 blink. You did nothing. You did not run. You didn't do it. You did nothing. The goggles do nothing. Oh, it totally did it. My shit broken? It is broken. There is a bug in my Bobby bot. It eventually pukes. Let's go back. Connection closed. Reason, max session lifetime.
Yoink!
Yoink!
Oh. Rev just decides to say fuck off. Well, I need to check on that. And just like add a restart thing. A restart bud guy. All right, so okay, it did exactly what I wanted it to do. So now if I just run it by itself, okay. Oh. There is a problem, but we can fix it. Here's my mock guy. Okay. Process transaction, personal finance category. Ha! Fuck yeah, dude. So let's go look. Reload this guy. In mocks. In here. How come I just have one? Am I only consuming one? Run it again. I need more debug code. Okay, no problem. Oh, I probably don't have updates. I probably deleted the update. Yeah, update's gone. Okay, let's look at my code. It's probably left over from when we had the exception. That's what it is. Okay, so let's go back here. Let's delete this collection. Yes. Mox. Kill him. Okay, now we're going to load the mock data. Now we're going to run the accounts. Now under our events, Well, okay, so we have no idea. One of these. No, none of these are it. All right, we need debugs. Debugs. Okay. Hitting the wall here in a little bit, but we're going to write a little bit more and then we're going to stop. Self-log debug. Lock. Self-log. Nope. So that, let's see if that gives me what I want. Okay. Cool. Okay. Nope. Okay. How come only one thing happened? Because I'm an idiot. Okay. Okay. I need to convert this. Motherfucker. UTC string. ISO 8601. Python parse ISO 8601. Date util parser. Parser parse. Oh, from ISO format. Okay. Hey. Daytime, 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 daytime. Daytime from ISO format. Invalid ISO format string. That looks pretty fucking valid to me, you son of a bitch. Fuck you then. Fine. You know what? Fucking fine. I don't have time for this bullshit. Just import data. Because I don't want to rename and all this other bullshit, and I want to know what it is, so. Date util parser parse. I'm gonna have so much bullshit in here. You know, in fact, before I run this again, because this thing's getting out of control. Look how many things are in here. Watch this. Ready? Mocks. This one, events. Oh, it's not that many. Ha! Fuck yeah. My shit updated even over here. Can't see it. But I can't see it. Oh, it just says use the right share because that's the only one I have. That's the only one I have a thing for. Okay. Okay. It's mock data. I have it. It's working. It's done. Bong. Check mark. Oh man, it's 11:30. 11:30 already. All right, so I was going to play video games. I'm not going to play video games because it's my anniversary today and Angela and I are going out to lunch. All we could do today because we both forgot, and so we're just going to go to lunch. It's better than doing nothing. We're going to have a nice lunch. It's nice. It's good. There's no kid in the house. We're going to have lunch, hang out, spend some time together. I was looking forward to it, so I'm going to go do that. And you all have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend. I'll see you on Monday. We're making good progress on this thing. We're almost ready for demo day, and I'm pumped for that. So thank you, and we'll see you another time.